And we are live. Welcome back to Aussies taking over the NBA. It's Thursday night. It's nearly Friday. Friday's on our doorstep. And we're going to be talking Aussies and then what's happening in the bubble. Obviously, no Aussies are in the bubble at the moment, but we will just talk some Aussies. Ben Simmons, talk a few things about Delhi and Dante Exum.
Yeah.
They are players in the NBA. Next, just we'll talk Aussies and then we'll talk because we haven't been saying that much about the Aussies in the last few episodes. So
they're in a mini training camp at the moment. So the bottom 8 teams that didn't make the bubble are in mini training camps set up, I think, in Chicago. So I know that part of the training camps, 5 players that are not in each team were invited to partake. And because I was reading an article on Jonathan Simmons, who played for Philly for a bit, then played for Orlando, and then played for the Santa Cruz Warriors. So apparently he's in with the team in a 2-week mini training camp because they were meant to have the shit bubble.
The stink
where
bubble.
The stink bubble or the bong bubble. But that never eventuated, I don't think. But look, what are we're coming into September, October now. What we've probably got another week or two. They're trying to kick this off Christmas, January, this new season, and all 82 games and flying across the country.
Oof.
So I don't know how that's like going to work in Rona sense. Rona is still rife in that bloody country, man.
Yeah, man. I almost think they should just keep it bubble specific. You know, this bubble offs has kind of, worked. The pre-bubble off and then the bubble offs have worked pretty well. I'd like to see them kind of keep it inside the bubble.
I don't know if you can, man. I don't know if you can.
Logistically, I'm sure it's not that easy to do, but I think for what, for how far they have to travel, what they have to do, I think it's going to be a bit of a nightmare because we've already seen some of the other sports start up. Baseball, I think's had like an outbreak. And then college football had a massive outbreak too. I think just recently, maybe even today or yesterday, it was just like, and 4 teams have got like 30 players each. Which I don't want to see happen to the NBA. Like I almost feel like they almost have to, like the sport as a, financial institution. Oh, that's not the right word, but like financially, they kind of got to keep their players safe. They can't really afford to lose more money. They can't really afford to hemorrhage more money.
I don't even know how. Yeah, well, it's not even so much hemorrhaging. I mean, any bubble's going to cost a mint, and there's no fans there paying for a lot of the salary. So it's really TV rights. And Daryl Morey's pissed the Chinese off so badly that they've, pulled out of the NBA in a big way financially. So how do you even run this? Like 82 games regular season. I don't know. They've done a pretty good job in the bubble, even though TV ratings have been down. I think, there's bigger fish to fry in America at the moment, and people may not even have a TV, but that's their problem. But for us watching it, the other problem with this is that if the Tokyo Olympics goes ahead, there goes the Australian basketball team.
Yeah. So what was that going to be delayed to 2021?
That was going to be delayed to June 2021.
Yeah. So straight up 1 year.
Yeah. So any NBA that's pretty much not, that's going to go through till September if it's an 82 game season. I don't see it happening. I just don't see how they're logistically going to do it without some sort of massive corona outbreak getting to and from. The bubble works because they're essentially locked into an area and can't leave. But yeah, it's fascinating that it's still going on 7 months later.
It is. It was a strange sort of thing when we started this, or sort of when we started going through it. It was very like, oh man, this could be the end of it all. Like, and then it was very up in the air for months. Then they decided to finish the season, and we had sort of said like, man, just bring it back 2021, 22 season. Just to scrap it all for a year, bring it back next season. So they've done really well to get this going, at least this bubble. We'll talk about the bubble offs soon, but I don't know what they're going to do. Like logistically, it's going to be a huge undertaking to get this off the ground, especially with the COVID influence that they've had in the US.
Yeah, I don't see how you can safely fly teams cross country.
Private jets, I guess. But then again, like you're looking at hemorrhaging more money too. Like
But they've
Everyone
all got
flies
private jets
private.
anyway. They all
Not
fly
necessarily.
private.
Sometimes they fly Delta. I've seen the Warriors fly in Delta.
Okay.
Mm.
But it's kind of a private Delta anyway. It's a chartered Delta.
Probably, yeah. They're probably mostly chartered, but still, like you're still running the risk. We obviously had in the NBL, we had basically players that were playing a series flying back and forth across the country with COVID passages. And it's just like, God damn, it's lucky that somebody didn't get the fucking Rona, man.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But yeah, that's a nice little intro. But yeah, as always, now we're a few minutes in. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube, Facebook. We're now on Spotify. So if Spotify is your preferred listening device, then head on over and subscribe on Spotify. You can catch us there on iTunes, Podcast Addict, SoundCloud, and all your podcasts RSS feeds. On iTunes, leave a rating, review, 5-star if you can. If you're there right now listening, just pop it up and hit 5-star. Helps us get us out there and get us more ears and eyes. And Aussies. We haven't really said anything about the Aussies in the last couple of weeks. There's not much going on. Ben Simmons won that award for all defense, first team all defense, which completely deserved.
Third team all NBA, which I think is a bigger achievement. When you've got to think that Joel Embiid didn't make third team all NBA in his, the process. So I'm fascinated to see the next 3 months when the Philly are going to look at coaching staff. I think they want Mike D'Antoni. This team right now doesn't work with Mike D'Antoni at all.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting.
It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of pieces they have to move and what they have to give away to get some sort of resemblance of a team.
The good news is that you dodged Billy Donovan. He's gone to the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
So let that one go through the keyboard.
Yeah,
shoulder the arms.
Do you really want Mike D'Antoni either? Do you really?
Like, to me, it's like a lame duck anyway. He's like a lame duck. I don't think his style is going to win a championship. The more I kind of look into what Houston was, the more like it's falling into place that, not necessarily he wanted everything like that, but him okaying things like, yeah, just trash the entire team with no center. Like, sweet. Like, he was kind of happy with that. And I'm just like, no, like, what?
Was
like,
he
as
happy
a coach?
with that?
Well, the more I'm reading, the more I'm kind of like, this is D'Antoni's style.
I don't think it is, man. I think he knew it was out well before they even made the playoffs. He was just like, yeah, I'm not coming back next year. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. And Maury is quite, he's quite, as a GM, very adventurous too. So maybe it's the wrong pairing, GM, front office, and coaching staff.
Yeah.
But do you, like, the question really is, do you want D'Antoni?
Based on the quality of coach out there, I don't know. You could I don't know, man. No.
Who realistically? Like, who else realistically?
There's no one on the market at the moment that I think has the pedigree.
Ty Lue?
To manage the egos in the team. Because you've got to manage Simmons and Embiid. You can't. There's two things that can happen. Maybe D'Antoni does this. Maybe he's just like, hey, fuck it. If I could get Simmons on that Rockets team, do the Rockets win? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like fast, even quicker. Well, let's trade Joel Embiid for James Harden. Like, does that happen? Like, that's
you're really high on this getting Harden to Philly thing, aren't you?
Well, I'm not even so much getting Harden to Philly. It's just like, Embiid does not fit D'Antoni's style. He's not. It's not quick enough. Simmons can play this mutant small ball center that's still 6'10" and a traditional center size, but Adebayo is 6'9" and Tice is 6'10". So there you are. There's the Eastern Conference finalists at 6'10" each. You're getting Harden, who is a shooter that oftentimes is a better shooter when someone's playmaking, as opposed to, he's a great creating his own shot, but can get very cold creating his own shot. Whereas if, trailing, once his feet are set, the ball's going in.
Mm-hmm. Actually, like small segue or small slightly sideways off topic. I was watching Curry 2018 when he came back against the Rockets. Then I went back the year before and watched some of that end of that series against the Warriors. And Harden was running way more pick and roll with Capella, pick and roll with everyone. Like, it was just pick and roll all the time. And that was like, this is a way better Harden. Like, what the fuck were you guys doing? Like, getting everyone out of the way, getting all your screens out of the way, setting barely any screens, doing nothing up high. Like, that just, I don't know. I kind of looked at Harden and went, was he maybe moping because they're just like, they got rid of the things that made him a much better player? But then, I kind of want to be wrong on the D'Antoni stuff. I'd like to see him go at Philly back to that 2018 style, like a lot of pick and roll, having the dominant ball handler be a creator, but like beating that first man and making sure you get into space, like kicking it to shooters. For Philly, I think that'd be a good avenue to go down. But you're bringing in a few more shooters, you're making Embiid work like a dog basically, and I don't know if he's got that really in him. Like, I don't know if you want to do that to that kind of player. Like, would you come in and to that team and go, you know what we're going to do? Embiid is just going to run as many pick and rolls as you can. He's going to run you into the ground. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to work. And I think that's going to create a lot of issues. And then, there's just going to be, that's not going to win you a championship. Really, you need to get rid of Al Horford. You need to try and get Al Horford. You need to get rid of, the only way to get rid of Al Horford is to obviously send some sweeteners. Whether that sweetener is Matisse Thybulle, whether that sweetener is Josh Richardson. We've got to think about
Josh Richardson, but not Matisse Thybulle. I'd keep him, man, for the next few years. Still on a rookie deal.
He's still on a rookie deal, and you want to keep him. His offensive game is pretty much non-existent. Well, we have to acknowledge that in a team where you require solid offense around Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is the defensive, the defensive black hole of that team. That's where everything gets sucked into. Yeah, it kind of works. He's great defensively, but you need some offense, and that's what we saw all year was stagnant offense. We saw some great defensive plays by the Sixers, but we saw stagnant offense. And so you get Horford out, you get Richardson or Thybulle out, maybe Zaire Smith. They've got a couple of deep rookies and a second-round pick for a couple of decent shooters. Now, I saw one mock trade. It's Horford, Richardson, Zaire Smith, and a second round for Buddy Hield and Nikola Bjelica.
Bjelica,
sorry.
Bjelica.
That's
all right. I like that. Bjelica, it's not great, but I don't mind Buddy Hield, man, in that team. Like another shooter, guy can carry the ball to go with Simmons. I guess like the elephant in the room really is you got to get Simmons into some sort of offense. Like I think
he's the primary ball handler. As much as you want to, he's a facilitator. He's weaponizing in transition, and if you play him at the 4, it negates a lot of that action. He's not a power forward. I think we saw that at this weird, if you just kind of let others primarily, he stands out in the corner and doesn't really get involved, and it's kind of weird. And
I'm thinking like the next coach, like the marker that he has to be getting Simmons into an offense. Like if Simmons stays, they don't get rid of him or anything like that. Your coach has to come in now and go, Ben, like you got to shoot some jumpers, stand in the corner, shoot some threes. I think that that element's going to open up the floor for more possibilities if the coach can at least get that to happen. Like I don't know. The more I kind of look at it, the more I read. It sounded like Simmons was a bit like didn't really like Brett Brown and his offense. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's not concrete news, but I kind of just get the feeling that he is a bit like, I'm not going to shoot then. Sweet, I'll just do whatever and I won't shoot. But who knows, man? I think the real eyes on issue for the next coach coming in is they got to get Simmons into some sort of offense that makes him a productive scorer, because that's the next evolution of his game.
Yes. And the only way to do that is to somehow, there has to be repercussions for not playing the way the coach does. That's really it, and from all intents and purposes, the reason why Jimmy Butler left was because Ben Simmons didn't want him back, and neither did Brett Brown. So there's some egos at play here. The next manager's got to be an ego manager more than anything. And I don't mean an ego stroker. I mean, these guys are 24. Yeah.
That's kind of like why I like D'Antoni too. Man, if D'Antoni comes in and just goes, Vortex pick and roll, let's do it, boys. And then Embiid's just like getting him on the dunes and shuttles Embiid, like get up there and start running. I don't know. I kind of like that. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in. I'm in. Get some shooters. Run Embiid, Simmons, Embiid pick and roll all the time. Yeah, sweet, nice. I'm in.
The most effective was Embiid Redick pick and pop.
Mm.
Just coming off the curl, Embiid's such a big. He didn't have to do much out of that. That's what they need. Like Buddy Hill pick and pop with with Embiid would work very well.
Mm.
Like an easy dial up play where Embiid doesn't have to run a lot.
They also, it kind of, and the elephant in the room really is Harris, but we haven't even mentioned Harris, and he kind of like I guess that really encapsulates his role on this team and on this roster, and as a player for Philly, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, shit, we got a 32 million a year guy standing like over there in the corner, like not talking to anyone.
The interesting one that they proposed was Harris straight Harris Otto Porter Jr.
Mm.
Because Porter Jr. only has 2 years left on that contract. I think he's owed 56 mil.
That's a lot though.
But Harris is owed 180. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'd kind of keep Harris in that. I think Harris will at least give you something. Like Harris, I feel like there's another level there.
No,
but
I think he's a solid player.
I don't know what's going to unlock it. Like you're not looking at him going, you know what, he's going to unlock it. You're just going to do this and this, and you're going to move him to the next level. Like I'm like, it looks like your game has another level to it, but I'm not looking at it going, you know what, that's going to unlock that level. I'm looking at it going, I don't know where your game's going to evolve from here. Like
he's 6'8", but plays defensively like he's 6'2".
His defense is pretty bad.
Yeah, man, it's horrible. You forget how big he is when he just can't defend. Like it's just turgent.
And then you kind of look at the rest of this roster. It's a bit sad. Like Mike Scott, Zaire Smith, Burks, O'Quinn, Robertson, Neto, Korkmaz, Shake Milton, Pell. It's kind of a lot of, second and third tier. Not sure if they're going to be a first tier, like grow into a first tier,
Yeah, Korkmaz is probably the most recognizable spot up shooter in that team as a good role player. Like that's all he's ever going to be. He's just going to be a role player. If he understands his positioning and builds around the fact that he's going to get 15 minutes a night and he better hit some fucking threes, then well, that's it. You know what I mean?
Hit some fucking threes, man. And but that's kind of what he does. Like does he have like a Tyler Hero, Doncic type vibe where it's just like, whoa, where did Korkmaz come from type?
He's more of a knockdown. He doesn't really come off the curl. He's more of a kind of like get set, slink out to the corner knockdown. Whereas Hero's just ridiculous. And Hero's got a great mid-range game and he can finish in traffic. That Miami team. It was just phenomenal. That Miami team, man, it's just disgustingly well balanced. Just, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But it's a good sort of framework to look at and go, we need to build teams like that. Really good wing defense, a couple of bigs who can play up and down, and a couple of guards who can play up and down. Like, I think that's where we're going. I think we're going... I still think Embiid can be a big piece in a championship-winning team, but you've got to get him to streamline the way he plays in your offense. You can't just have him running wild. You can't just go, here's the keys, Embiid. Like, you run this offense. Like, I think that's, got to go out the window when the new coach comes in.
Yes.
Let's move to some more Aussies. Dante Exum at Cleveland. He popped up on my timeline the other day talking about Southeast Melbourne Phoenix or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it's part of it.
And I was like, oh yeah, forgot about Dante Exum. He's still at Cleveland. Shit.
I don't know, man. That Cleveland team for me is like 10 years away from anything.
Yeah, it's horrid. It's the LeBron James suck zone. Remember that? The vortex of suck, where he leaves and like just strips out every good thing you've ever had in that team. And who's their coach now? No, Beeline was Chicago. No, it is Beeline. And Bickerstaff came in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It is Beeline. And remember that one? Was he the one that called him soft?
Yeah, that's right.
Or something, or he made like a racial reference.
Yeah, something like that. But he's saying it was soft.
Oh Jesus! It was something. I think I remember it was something a little bit more gruff, but I won't repeat it. JB Biggerstaff, I like as a coach, but he is a very I'm going to take 5 years to build something that's a playoff hopeful that may like make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like an Indiana where it's just like first round, first round, first round. You know, like it's not a team where you're like, yeah, they could compete for a championship. But their roster is like a mess as well. Sexton Osman, Garland Thompson, Dellavedova, Kevin Love on a huge contract, Nance Jr., Porter Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., not Michael Porter Jr., obviously. McKinney, Alfonso McKinney, Zizic. I always like Zubac and Ante Zizic are the same person for me.
They are the same person.
I know,
They've
man.
both got the same haircut as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then Dean Wade, Drummond. Oh, that's right. Remember we were talking about Cleveland and we're like, I think you said they had Cap, and I was like, no, they don't. But I don't know why. And it was Drummond. He's the guy lurking in the corner with like holding all the bags.
Oh, didn't they? Who did they swap for Drummond?
I can't remember, man.
Yeah, because it's just like
Who went to Detroit? 27 million he's on. Damn.
Yeah, that's just cap, dead cap space.
I'm going to click Andre Drummond. I'm going to quickly just find what that trade was. It's been so long, like that whole COVID thing has just ruined my memory on what's happened. Traded by the Detroit Pistons to the Cleveland Cavaliers for John Henson and Brandon Knight and a 2023 second round draft pick.
So trash.
Far out. I'd forgotten about that, man. Remember John Henson? Remember he was on the Bucks? Wasn't he on the Bucks before?
He was.
Yeah.
Where was Brandon Knight before Cleveland?
Phoenix, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him being on Phoenix at one point. Drummer, let's click Brandon Knight. Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Phoenix, yeah. So, yeah, Dante, man, he's still injured, I think. He says here expected to miss an extended period of time, but that was February 2026. Sorry, okay. February 26, 2020. So, he might be back now. Maybe this could be the best thing that happens to him. A little, like
9 months, yeah. 10 months, actually.
Yeah, 8-month rest. Because there was a little period at the back end of last season where you were like, he's back. Like, this is good. But I feel like you're always got that in your head of, oh no, like, if he revs it too hard, it's going to like conk out type of thing.
If he has another major injury, is that kind of it?
Yeah. It's
I think
worry,
that's
man.
kind of, it's, what is he, 27?
25, just turned 25.
25. Like, he's the same age as Embiid. He's been around so much longer.
Yeah, feels like he's been around for ages. But I think he was 18 or 19 when he entered. Kind of out of nowhere too.
Yeah, it was off the tournament, that Aussie, the international tournament, just at a baller.
Drafted fifth in the first round. What teams do you reckon he could be good on?
Cleveland.
Houston?
No.
Little slash and D? A D'Antoni style Houston?
I don't even know what that Houston team's going to be anymore.
True. I would have liked to have seen him in this Houston team, like with D'Antoni, that just currently there. Little slash and D type player.
Yeah. Look, it's last season was kind of the off season of the century. It was so wide open. It was, what's going on. This season is just more interesting because it's like everyone's on contracts, but everyone's shit. It's like, are the Clippers going to blow it up? Is Philly going to blow it up? Who else is going to blow it up? They were touted as championship prospects. What are these trash teams doing? What moves are they making?
And then obviously you're going to have the hamstrung cap for most teams too. So
every team is pretty much going to be cap burden. So how the hell are they going to do anything?
So it's going to be the agents are going to make a lot of money. The front office make a lot of money. They're going to earn their money. Front office is going to earn their money with some serious decision making over the next, kind of year and a half, 2 years, maybe even before the cap returns to kind of a normal. Like all these maxes, I think are just going to like destroy teams. Like because a few guys are coming up for the max. Giannis, I think, is one. He's probably going to have to leave.
No, I think he'll stay for the Supermax.
But that's going to destroy the Bucks, man. It's going to destroy their roster.
Well, I think this is one thing that they could probably he'll want the supermax because it's Giannis.
Mm.
But then is it a sign and trade?
Yeah, but who's going to take Giannis? I suppose, yeah, if you sign Giannis to the Supermax and then trade him,
Yeah,
you're probably
just
going to get the absolute height of that asset back.
yeah.
Mm.
So you're going to
Interesting.
get good assets backed. He's going to get paid what he wants, and then some team's going to have him. What team that is, who knows?
What about Dante on the Bucks with Giannis?
Could work.
Yeah,
Could
nice
work.
6'5" slash and D.
Yeah, but he wants to play with Chris Paul apparently.
Who? Giannis
Mm,
or Exum?
Giannis.
Giannis.
What happens to Delhi and Brokoff, man? That's the other
I know.
Brokoff actually becomes more desirable. Free agent, low cost. There's no. He's not on vet min. You know what I mean? Like some team can sign him for like 1.3 million, and hey, there's a 3-and-D kind of player.
So is he technically still attached to Philly?
I don't think so. I think it was a rest of season contract, and he didn't fulfill contract because of the bubble thing. So he's an unrestricted free agent.
I'm looking at Sport Track 2020. It says unrestricted free agent. So he must have taken a little bit of money and then opted out, and then not like opted out in the sense of the word opted out, but he must have just been, I'm not going to the bubble, and then it might have been waived or something type of thing.
Mm-mm.
Not waived, but you didn't fulfill your contract, so that's it. You're unattached. You're an unrestricted free agent.
But
That's
it would
a
have been
big
anyway.
one, man. Who would he be? Like, it'd be great. It'd be great to just stay, like, to return to Philly on a.
I think so. 6'7" wispy kind of 3-and-D player. Can handle the ball a bit, can play the pick and roll.
Bucks.
Yeah, man. I think someone will pick him up.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a market for really talented shooters that are cheap. You're not like your 6-7 mils, because they're the guys. You get a couple of 6-7 mils with 3 max contracts, and then you're gone. So Ryan Brokoff. Maybe they pick up some guys from Europe that are cheap, pick up some guys from the G League, just cheap contracts.
Is Bolden still over there?
Yeah, he's still over there. I don't know what he's doing though.
Wasn't he playing in the G League for some team? No, he was on a 10-day at Phoenix, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then he got the second 10-day, I think, and then no, he didn't even get the second 10-day. No, he only got one 10-day.
They went to the bubble, and I don't think he went to the bubble.
No, he got booted way before the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Waved. Yeah, just one 10-day. I don't know, man. Could a team pick him up?
There is talks of him coming back to the NBL.
Sydney, sign him up.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep.
Who else do we got here? Mitch Creek? No. Dilly. Kicking around Cleveland. I feel like he's part of the furniture at Cleveland. He just milk them for as much as he's worth and stay there for as long as he can. Pretty
much. Good savvy vet rebuilding. There's no reason why they don't keep him around for $2 million a season.
I would like to see him come down to the NBL, to be honest.
So would I, but no NBL team's going to pay him $2 million to sit there and clap.
It's true. Can't he just donate some of his salary, Paddy Mills style?
Well, Paddy's still got a year left on his contract.
I'm just trying to look it up now, but it's just won't let me do it.
Delhi's an unrestricted free agent technically. Paddy's got 1 year left on his contract. Exum's got two from this next season. And pretty much everyone else is unrestricted except Simmons. Thon's a restricted free agent.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to get picked up. So many players where you're just like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about him. Just looking him up. I think, has he got 1 year left? I think he's got 1 year this year.
No.
And then he's unrestricted.
I think he's a restricted free agent now.
Current.
This is a team option. Yeah, it's team option. I don't know if he's been picked up by Detroit. So it'd make him a restricted free
Yeah,
agent.
Paddy's still contracted. Let's go Thon Maker. Paddy's still got 30 mil this season, and definitely I think worth it. He had a great season. So yeah, qualifying offer of 4 million. And then otherwise he becomes a restricted free agent. I don't know. If you're Detroit, would you pick him up?
Yeah, because you got nothing else.
Yeah, true. Feel like he's kind of stalled a little bit. He's not kind of hit the area that you kind of want to be.
No, but he's still young. You know, there's hope yet. There's hope yet.
It's a bit sad because he had a lot of potential, and that crazy Bucks. I watched that the other day when the Bucks series finished. I remember watching that Bucks that Thon 5 blocks off the bench. Just like, damn, that was a crazy times.
Yeah, that was a good game. He's just like he should have just ridden it out at the Bucks.
I think they probably pushed him.
No, he pushed for more playing time, didn't get it, and therefore, because that team is pretty much who Giannis wants stays, right? And Giannis considers him a brother. So it's kind of like, so it was just like if Giannis wanted him to stay, he was going to stay, but he wanted to go and play more, and he just wasn't getting the time under Coach Bud. So that's why he went to Detroit for more game time.
Low key, Coach Bud on the hot seat.
Yeah, I think he's probably got another season.
Yeah, I think this season he's on the hot seat for next season.
Yeah, I think he's on the hot seat next season. Look, if they make the championship, I don't see him going, but they've got to make the championship game. They can't have none of the second round exit bullshit.
And then Joe Ingles, obviously, I don't think he's going anywhere.
No. Just going to Slowtown.
Yeah, just Sleepy Valley or something. Where's he from? So he's next year 10 million, and then I think he becomes an unrestricted free agent 2022.
Okay.
So he's got one more year. 14 million, I think, is an opt-in for him.
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely going to opt into that.
I think he's going to take that kind. He's going to opt in. Yeah. So Aussies, it's kind of a bit in limbo at the moment. You know, it really is a little bit of limbo going on. There's not much happening.
We've got a couple Aussies in the draft this year. Probably the best prospect is Josh Green. Considered going.
Have you got anything to say on Josh Green?
Yeah, he's kind of gone down. I think he's at around about 19. He was up to 13 at one stage. I think he's at 19 now. But you just never know what's going to happen. You know, you kind of, the first 10 are kind of, you know, solid in, but you kind of don't.
Yeah. There's so much uncertainty. Like, it's crazy amount of uncertainty. Like, apparently, like, there's workout disruptions and there's no college, so they're kind of screwed too on evaluating talent. This is another one where I think the GMs are gonna, well, whoever's drafting is gonna make, you know, they're gonna have to really fucking make their money here drafting. Would you want LaMelo Ball?
No.
That's a solid no. Only because we watched him, man. We watched him pretty extensively too. Saw him live. Did we? Yeah, we saw him live, didn't we? Yeah.
We watched him.
He got destroyed by Diddy.
Shot mechanics broken, just like his brother. You know, good vision, good core vision, good defense. But his shot mechanics broken.
I feel like he's probably a better player than Lonzo overall. Like, he's probably got more in his locker. He's more adept handling the ball in situations and running pick and roll. Like, there's definitely like senior level things where you're like, okay, like this is a tool, but I don't like I don't know, because watching that season in the NBL, like, it was, as Russillo, like, when I watched him evaluate it, he said it was just gross. He just said he was just taking the ball off grown men and shooting it. And everyone must have been like, good, get out when he left. Like, and kind of that's how I felt. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, how can you not show the maturity? Like, Aaron Brooks, when he was playing, like, that was where you were just like, obviously, you know, veteran player. He's in his 30s, so understandable. But when you were watching him as a professional, you were just like, all right, he's getting people involved, like, working hard. But when it was Lonzo, man, he's just taking all these shots. You know, it can run the pick and roll, but I don't know. As a prospect, I'd look at him and just be like, I'd want to, like, a guarantee on scouting his attitude first.
Yeah. Brett Silver Spoon.
A little bit. It's a worry. But back to my point about Lonzo, like I think he can be better than Lonzo because he's got like the more natural like basketball affinity talent than Lonzo.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Lonzo's a great creator with the ball. Like he can shoot it quite well. I just feel he is kind of like a more raw version of what the good parts of LaMelo's game are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, both of them are still on a tier where it's like I don't see these guys getting into the 2 and 1 tier and everyone turn around and is like, whoa, Lonzo. Like, Lonzo is now a star of this league. Like, I just don't really see that.
No, and you know what? They'll probably end up bouncing out the next couple of years. To be completely honest with you.
I think Lonzo with his Pels team and who's that going to be their coach? I think Ty Lue might be going to coach them.
They want to trade him. Just
Oh, they want to trade him?
Yes.
Coming up next week, we backtrack on our Lonzo discussion. I like him, but at the same time, if you compare him to Jamal Murray, right? I didn't necessarily see the attitude in Murray translating into what he's become. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I saw that in Steph. Like you could always see Steph had the talent, the ability, and like you knew if you put the right pieces around him, and then it was like a collage. You were like, oh, he's the glue, and then you have something good there. But with some of these other guys, like didn't see that in Murray. Like I didn't see like, oh man, if you just glue a bunch of these guys together, like he's just gonna go off and gel this team together. Like I still feel he's a little bit short of that and can grow into that over the next couple of years. But when you look at some of these tier 2 type guys, they're the things I look for now. Like I don't look for, oh man, he could shoot it. Oh man, great defense. Like I look at like, all right, how can this guy play with a bunch of other guys, and is he going to be receptive to doing things that are going to make a team better? I don't look at Lonzo and LaMelo as that. Just like,
No.
I just want to see that. But segue into this bubble offs, these 2 series, man, some high caliber basketball.
It's been good, man. I mean, we'll go to Lakers Denver first. Denver just keep coming.
What? Search their locker room for PEDs, man. Like, where are they getting this energy from? This is ridiculous.
Just, man, Jokic was puffed game 5 last year. This year, he just keeps going.
Good, man. And he looked like low key, like you look at him and you're like pudding. And then the way he plays, you're like, shit, like low key he's strong. And the goon factor, like, hasn't like copped any of that goon from Howard. Like they clearly were just like, Dwight, get out there and goon him. Comes out like, and Dwight Howard in this last game, man, like pushing guys over and then just like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? And it just hasn't gone into his head. And I commend him for it, man, because I would have thought some of that would get him.
No, I think they've got something to prove, this Denver team.
I don't know where is this energy coming from. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I have no idea. I mean, it's I think Michael Porter Jr. is been that little piece, just did that little extra piece in that team to take him up a little bit. I think if you take him out, it's just that little bit extra. And he's been playing really well, just coming off the bench, scoring.
Jeremy Grant and Monte Morris as well.
They're all playing very well. Paul Millsap is playing hilariously.
Yeah, Millsap's the guy where you're like, could see a little less of him. But like Monte Morris, like their bench is giving them these like no fear injections. Like we come off and play with no fear. Like Jeremy Grant, like for the level that he's at, he's been fantastic for them and fit them perfectly. Not afraid of anything. Porter's not afraid. And then you contrast that to this Lakers team, and you it's kind of a little bit. They look a little bit exposed. Kuzma and Green, I don't trust. Like I'm not looking at them just going, you know what? Kuzma had that shot at the end, and Rondo as well had that shot at the end of game 3, whichever 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's not the guys who I want taking these shots. Like, fuck. And then if you're Denver, you're like, sweet. Love it. Kuzma, like flip the coin. I'll take Kuzma taking end of game shots instead of Davis or LeBron.
Yeah. KCP and Green for me are just, they're deep bench. They're not starters. And they somehow managed to, score a starting role on this team.
I think KCP when there's no pressure, You're like, top work, man. You hit that three. You know, you play some good D. Sweet. But then it's like, all right, the pressure's on. Like, KCP, what do you got? And it's like, nothing. You know, I think he bricked a couple of threes down the end of that game 4-3.
Caruso hasn't had a great series either.
He's been all right, but not 10% from three. Woo. He's been
Is
like,
that KCP?
no, that's Caruso.
Yeah.
He's been like, I watched the highlights and he had a couple of mad dunks. Caruso, what a player. But then like you watch the games and you're just like, ooh, I don't know if I trust him at the end of these games or in the crunch time or to stay on the court and, you know, develop a lead or like stem the tide of a Denver run. And then like I don't trust these guys. I'm looking at them going, oh man, the more I see of like Morris and Caruso and Rondo and Kuzma and Danny Green, like I'm like, oh, I don't trust these guys, man. But then the more of like Grant and Porter and Monte Morris and Harris and Torrey Craig and not so much Plumlee, but like I'm just like, man, they're growing in confidence, no fear. Like I like this.
I think if they can take game 4
and make it a 2-2, yeah.
Make it a 2-2, I think that puts them in front. They're so good at the back end of series when they've got the other team completely knackered. Man, AD and LeBron did not look happy at the end of game 3.
I tweeted like the other on that game they lost. I tweeted out like, this is the first time really we've seen the Lakers in a situation where it's just like, poof, all right, what do you got? And then I'm looking at this Lakers team going, I don't know what they got. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Denver take like haymakers after haymakers, and you're just like, they got a fucking granite chin, man. They've come back twice. Like we know they can come back. But this Lakers team, like they've taken a huge shot here. I guess they took a shot in both those series at the start, but it was kind of fool's gold, really. Like they kind of came back and just ran the rack on them. And then that Houston series where it was just like, we've made one adjustment. What do you got, Houston? And Houston were like, series over. We're out. We can't best this. Whereas Denver have had 2 series now where it's just been a chess match. And they've gone, we got this. We're moving this here. We're doing this. We're doing this. All right, what do you got, Lakers? And now we're back to the ball's in the Lakers' court here. They're going to have to make some adjustments. But then again, if they win this and make it 3-1, you're not gonna bet on Denver.
They've done it twice.
You can't, man. I'm just staggered at how they're coming back, man. How Denver even have the ability to function. It's nuts. And like I said to you, the switch over of the date so they could line the series up basically means that Lakers had to play the same. Like they could have had an extra day, but the extra day really was nothing to them because it was switching the series over, so they were lining up game by game because Boston had the game ahead. And I think that's hurt the Lakers, man. Like they have a kind of old team, and this if you look at this Denver team, Murray 22, Jokic 24, Jeremy Grant 25, Porter 21, Monte Morris 24, Gary Harris 25, Craig's 29, Plumlee's 29, Dozier and Daniels, you know, they're all just also rans. The oldest guy on that team is Millsap at 34, and then if you match that to the Lakers, Anthony Davis is 26, LeBron 35, Caldwell Pope 26, Kuzma 24, Danny Green's 32, Howard's 34. That's a bit of an old team, man. Rondo 33, Morris is 30, JaVale's 32. It's a bit of a like, ooh, like, are they going to flame out because they're a little bit older? Maybe it's just the young legs.
Maybe it is the young legs doing it. It seems to be like that on the East Coast as well, man. The young legs. I mean, this is a good series. I think Boston will take the next game. I think it'll be a close game. I'd love to see Miami Denver in the final.
I don't know. There's 4 teams, man, that are like.
Fuck LeBron. I want to see Miami.
Yeah, okay, I'm down with that, but it's still 4 teams where I'm like, I'd feel bad for all 4 of those teams if all 4 of them lost. You know, like this isn't this isn't a fuck Houston. I do not want to see them in the finals type scenario. It's not all those East teams I like. Like I'm looking at all these East teams going, man, I don't want Boston to lose, and I don't want the Heat to lose either. Like even though I think the Heat's probably going to win it from here, but all of these teams, I'm like, oh man, it sucks, you know. But then again, if it's Denver Heat, I'm in.
What a series that's going to be.
But anything else on the Lakers Denver series? I wrote down a bunch of notes. The Davis buzzer beater, that was pretty sweet. That what do you think of that Plumlee breakdown?
Yeah, that was pretty awful. It took, I think Jokic took a while to kind of get there.
Jokic. Jelena Dokic.
Jelena Jokic.
I think it's just peak Plumlee. Like,
yeah,
that's why he is Plumlee. You know what I mean? Like, that was really pretty bad, honestly. And he got crucified for it, and rightly so. But
it's a Plumlee.
It's Plumlee, man. Like, that's why he's not a top center. Like, that's just exactly why. And there was that weird situation where there wasn't the timeout at the end there. It was kind of quick inbounds. I'm happy for AD because he hit that three and it was a moment. And he's only shooting 27% from three in this series. And it was a moment. And fuck, LeBron's only shooting 28% as well. Shit. It was a moment where I was like, fuck yeah, Anthony Davis, like a galvanizing moment for that team. But they really could have lost that game. Like, it could really be 2-1 Denver at the moment.
Yeah, it could have been.
And obviously, like, we'll quickly talk about, like, when that run, Lakers made that huge run in game 3, like, that was all just mistakes. Like, I saw a lot of people on Twitter and, like, reading Reddit and shit being like, oh man, you can't get this Lakers team out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, that was literally like 6 of the stupidest turnovers. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like the Lakers went, oh, here's a strategy, we're going to attack this strategy, and now we know we've figured this out. Oh, but like a shame we lost. We couldn't quite get there. It was just stupid turnovers. What else have I got here? Jokic is legit.
Yep.
Roll guys versus roll guys, man. I like those Denver roll guys better.
Yeah, they've got a better bench and they seem to be hungry and well, they've played more games as well and they've played more game time, so they're going to be able to play better together. That's the one good thing, I suppose, about playing 2 7-game series. You kind of know what you're doing after that.
Yeah, they got more chemistry. And Danny Green, man, for a veteran on that team, it's just like he's giving them nothing. I'd almost just be like, see ya. But then you're like, oh wait, scratching around for someone here. Like, who have we got? Fuck, we got no one. Like Morris, nah. Caruso, maybe, yeah, all right. Or Kuzma still, as much as he's matured, still looks like a 3rd-year player. Like, not ready yet type of thing.
No.
But yeah, what do you reckon for the rest of this series, Lakers?
I don't know, man. You can't write Denver off.
Lakers have got to come out and throw a haymaker in this next game.
Yeah, they've got to, and I just don't see.
15 turnovers LeBron's had in this series. That's the most for the Lakers.
This is his last hurrah. This is the final chance. He's not going to win a championship.
One of our last episodes was LeBron, is he immortal? I wanted to call this one LeBron washed. Like, kind of looking old, man. In this game, he was looking fucking old. He had a couple of good run out dunks, but I watch him like after these plays. You can see he's sucking in the big ones, man. Like, it's invisible, and he's like, like, like when you're working out and you've got that, like, just focus, and your face is doing whatever it wants to do because you can't fucking control it. You can't keep it like sane anymore. Kind of looks like that, man. Yeah, no?
I haven't been paying too much attention to his face. I can tell you.
Just watch him, man. Watch his body language and mannerisms, man. He looks like he's gassed.
Okay.
I thought that last year, though, when the year before, rather, when he was playing in Cleveland against the Warriors. Over to this crazy series, 3-1 Miami Boston. Oh, what did you think? Like, down the end, Lakers or Nuggets?
I think it's Nuggets.
Yeah, you want Nuggets?
I kind of do.
You think Nuggets? I
think they deserve it.
I think Lakers kind of low key want Lakers, but I'll be happy with either team.
Okay.
Nuggets in the finals. That'd be pretty good. I'd be into that because I like Jokic and Murray with a ring. Murray's kind of come of age where you're like, all right, you're here now, sweet.
Yeah, you're a top kind of 5 guard.
They strengthen that team. That's a young team. They could really build a good core. Boston and the Heat. That phenomenal series, man. That has just been
Yeah,
an insanely good series.
good teams to watch, fast pace.
So game one, 117, 114. Game two, 106, 101. Game three, 117, 106. Technically, I guess that's kind of a blowout, but then 112, 112, 109 today. None of these games have been like a blowout where it's just like the other team is better. Like, obviously, that was like that game three for Boston was a bit of a, like younger brother going crazy, throwing a few punches and landing a few. But today, I kind of felt like their Heat were the better team
I kind of feel
defensively.
like, well, the Heat again, defensively, yes, they've got I think the Heat have just got better vets.
Mm,
They've got two good vets in Iguodala and Butler. There's just a little bit more maturity down the end. I think that's what's going to bring it home for them. Is they've got these young lunatics that can shoot, that can dribble, that can run all day, but they've also got some good veterans with a level head that can bring the pace down or change the tempo of the game. And I think Boston are they're probably just like one more piece away. Like they haven't got great bench depth. It's good, but it's
mm.
not great. Who's Time Lord? Is that
Time Lord is
Brad
Williams, one
Brad
of the
Williams?
Williams, Robert Williams.
Robert Williams. Yeah,
Is he Robert
the,
Williams?
the bench depth isn't there for me for Boston.
It's like the framework of this team. You know what I mean? Like the Boston, both teams have great framework, like
Yep.
great framework. But the Miami team has better defensive wings. Like I feel like they have the better defensive wings to take two guys. That obviously like framework versus framework. The good guys on the Celtic team are the wing guys,
Mm.
and then the Heat have two really good wing defenders. So you're like, fuck, that kind of cancels it out. Like, what else has the rest of the team got? And then I think the Heat have a better kind of supporting cast in that sense. Like, but I reckon still both teams are still evenly matched. It's just within the chess match of the coaching, the Heat kind of have some better options to throw. Like Tatum today had a bit of a struggle in the first half, and I don't look at him as a player where if he's struggling, he's just going to go absolutely nuts. And he kind of did in the second half, but at the same time, they had a couple of plays late defensively where he just lost Hero, and Hero had some layups, and you were like, Jason, like, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not
Mm.
ready yet. He doesn't have that,
No.
that emotional fight in him yet, the dog in him yet. And I kind of think that this Heat team does. Like, Dragic is a great vet, 33. Adebayo knows his position and can play multiple sort of roles, play up and down in size. Jimmy Butler, I feel like, hasn't been that good in this series.
No, but quietly putting up 20 points a game.
Yeah, 18.8 a game. But taking some bad shots, making some stupid plays too down the ends of these games. Like kind of low key, a little bit unclutch. Do you feel like that? Like he's had a couple of bad turnovers at the end of these games, which
Yeah, a couple of
Jimmy,
bad turnovers. Yeah, it's very unbutler like, but maybe that's just got some good players around him that picking up the slack this series.
Dragic is playing 35 minutes, Adebayo 39 minutes, Hero's playing 36 minutes a game. Fucking today, that was just nuts. That dude, man, you said it last week how, working on his game in the gym like a maniac. And that shows, man, like the way he can just finish with both hands. Like I've noticed like the new wave finishing in the NBA now is not like crazy Jimmy Butler, like leaning, Kawhi diving floaters. Like it's how you can get your body into a position but still have the strength to score. Like
Mm.
that's where these players are getting way better. Like they don't put themselves in stupid positions where they're not going to be able to score the ball. Like a couple of those today where he bumped a dude and then still had the strength to kind of just hang in the air and shoot like, a 4 foot kind of off glass jumper type thing.
Yeah,
Like those are the plays that are getting more and more into the kit bag of these players. And it's kind of leaving these other guys behind. Like Tatum feels like a little bit where if he gets in a tangle, he's not going to finish a play.
yeah,
Whereas Hero today, like some of these plays where he got himself in a bit of a tangle and then, whoop, whoop, and then just Euro in, I'm driving off my left. I'll just finish with my left. Like, I don't know if that's really in Tatum's game yet.
I mean, Tatum's still a good player. Don't get me wrong.
And he's been great, yeah.
But yeah, no, Hero just had a special game, I think.
And he's, I just don't know. Look at the overall series in a fine margin. Do we now take that Tyler Hero 37 game and just go an aberration? The Celtics will now, that's not going to happen again. I don't know. I don't feel like that.
I don't feel like that, but I don't think I don't think it's going to happen in that sense. I think that the Celtics could bring it back to a 3-2, but I think there's just enough. There's just enough of those guys that can go absolutely nuts on that Miami team. Like Duncan Robinson's another one that can just put 5 threes in 5 minutes. It's kind of like one of those weird like prime Kyle Korver style shooters. It's like, oh, Kyle Korver scored 28 points in 6 dribbles. Like it's crazy.
And did he have some foul trouble today? I think
Who?
he did. Yeah, he had 4 fouls pretty quick.
Yeah.
He only played 23 minutes. He's another guy too where, this team is perfectly set up to put him in positions to come off curls and shoot, and, they're not just like, dunk, back guys down for a bit, shoot at the elbow, get a one-step jumper. They're putting him in positions where it's just like he loves to come off the curl and shoot. We'll give you 3 of those in your little stint. Sweet. And in a series like this, that's where Spoelstra, I feel like, kind of got the edge on Brad Stevens. But at the same time, Brad Stevens doesn't quite have enough of those weapons. Like Marcus Smart feels like he's kind of been depreciating as the series goes on against a team that's really well coached. But the amount of like, we're obviously seeing 2 of the best coaches in the league. Like it's pretty clear that Spoelstra and Stevens are 2 of the best coaches in the league. I'm seeing so much like, well, Stevens is shit now then. If you can't beat Spoelstra, he's just shit. And it's just like, no, like you don't understand the fine lines of coaching in these 2 absolute fucking top level coaches. Like if Stevens loses this series, like he doesn't just become shit overnight.
No, you just tweak that roster to make sure that you've got the tools to go deep next run. And that's all it is. It's a deep run. And if you have a good, the stars have to align unless you're a dynastical team where you've got 4 guys on a roster that are just apeshit good and good bench players. But if you're, all these teams are kind of finding their way in this season. This is the first season that a lot of them have kind of come together as a unit, except for Denver, really. Then they're finding their way, and that's going to take a couple of years. What they don't remember is that half these teams have played together for half the good teams play together for years before they make a run at it.
And then the Hayward equation. He looks all right, but it just looks weird.
He's too white.
He's too white. He's not as white as Ty's.
No, he's pretty white though.
He just looks like he doesn't fit, man. Like it really doesn't look. It looked weird because in that game they won, like where they solved the zone. Oh, they've solved the zone by just basically Hayward just, dribbling to the free throw line and shooting jumpers because pretty much that's how you beat the zone is you move your man to the free throw line. And you're like, yeah, sweet. But then today, obviously, the Heat adjusted and then Hayward can knock down a few shots and it kind of just, the spark is not in his game.
He's not explosive. He's lost his explosiveness, yeah.
That's big, man. Like for the status that he has in this team, that's pretty big. Like it's a pretty big hole to fill for a guy like Marcus Smart. And then some of these plays that were heroes today, some of these plays they were on Kemba. And you kind of like, you can't let Kemba get isolated on fucking Hero. He's just going to scorch him, man. And I love Kemba, but you can notice his defensive deficiency on the defensive end.
This is the problem with a 5'10" point guard. This is really it. This is the problem with a 5'10" point guard, The league is moved
but he's locked in, so he's going to have to stay with the Heat, the Celtics. So, but I like him still. I think, I don't know if he's ever going to find a level where he's just like, I make that step up. I'm in the tier, but we will see.
Indeed.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. So predictions, Miami just closes it out. You reckon Celtics are going to win one more?
I think one more and then Miami closes it.
Yeah, I reckon Miami's just going to close it out. Just a little shh. That's it. They're into the finals. All right, we'll leave it there. It's been a bit of a long one. We will be back. What do you reckon next week after these series conclude?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best.
We'll keep digging on Aussie information, and we'll keep looking at these Aussies, seeing where they pop up, what's been happening. I think we should look at where some of like go in depth on where some of these Aussies, should go, or maybe we'll go a bit in depth on what Philly's offense could be.
Yeah, sounds good.
With a new coach. And remember to like, share, and subscribe everywhere, all the socials, that side, all the way down that side. YouTube, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Spotify now, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you like us.